Snow fell slowly across the shattered valley of Virelon 9. Once it was a green world full of songbirds and bright skies. Now it was a frozen battlefield, silent except for the wind. The sky was gray, the trees were broken, the ground was littered with metal wreckage and ash, and in the middle of it all sat a little girl, not human. Her skin glowed a soft orange, her silver-white hair blew in the wind. Her eyes, once bright like stars, were tired now. In her arms she held a small blue creature, furry, shivering and weak. She whispered, "It's okay, Kai, just sleep. I'm still here." The creature didn't answer. It only whimpered and pressed closer to her chest. Her name was Lyari. She was only 12 in human years. Her people had once lived in floating cities. Her mother had been a healer. Her father, a scout. They were all gone now. When the sky tore open weeks ago, the invaders came fast. Ships burned through clouds. Fire rained down. The elders tried to reason. The warriors tried to fight. Both failed. Now she was alone, with nothing but the clothes on her back and the small creature in her arms, and the cold, always the cold. She crawled under a broken wing of a crashed ship, metal twisted like dead bones. There was no power, no food, just a small dry space in Kai's tiny body to hold on to. She had wrapped the creature in her own arms to keep it warm, but now her arms felt numb. The storm outside was growing worse. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "We tried to run." Her eyes closed. She didn't expect to wake up again, but something moved outside the wreck. A sound, heavy, crunching footsteps through snow. Lyari blinked. Was she dreaming? Was this the cold playing tricks? No, it was real. A figure appeared in the mist, tall, broad, wrapped in black armor and fur, a helmet with a glowing visor. A human. Lyari gasped and pressed Kai closer. The stories said humans were wild, dangerous, destroyers of worlds, but this one knelt in front of her, slow, careful. He reached up and removed his helmet. His face was rough, tired, scarred. His eyes were a pale blue, like ice. But they didn't look cruel. They looked worried. "You're alive?" he asked softly. Lyari didn't speak. She only nodded once slowly. He looked at her arms. Her bare skin was turning purple from cold. "Can you walk?" he asked. She shook her head. He didn't ask again. He set his helmet aside, pulled off his thick outer jacket, and wrapped it gently around both Lyari and Kai. Then he picked them up. Carefully. Gently. She was too tired to protest, too cold to think. But his arms were warm and his voice was calm. "You're safe now," he said. "I've got you." Lyari leaned into his chest. Ki gave a soft, weak chirp, and for the first time in days she believed they might survive. But what she didn't know was that this man, this stranger, had enemies too. Enemies that were watching, waiting. And now, they had seen what he cared about. The human's name was Reed Voss. He had been a soldier once. Now he was just a man trying to survive in a galaxy that had stopped making sense. His ship had crashed here 2 days ago during a storm, far from any command post or rescue signal. He didn't expect to find anyone alive in this wasteland, but then he found her. Reed carried Lyari and her blue pet across the icy field, boots crunching through frozen snow. The wind howled around them, but he kept moving, jaw tight, arms steady. The girl in his arms was small, barely more than skin and bones. Her orange skin felt cold under his jacket. The little creature in her arms made a weak sound but didn't move. Reed spoke softly as he walked. "Hang in there, little ones, just a bit further." At the edge of a ravine built into a rock wall sat the rescue shelter, a small survival pod with emergency heat and supplies. It wasn't much, but it had saved Reed's life. Now it needed to save hers. He stepped inside. The door hissed shut behind him. Warm air blasted in, melting the frost from his armor. Gently, Reed laid the girl on the padded bench and knelt beside her. She didn't let go of the blue creature. "Hey," he said softly. "You're safe now. I promise." Her eyelids fluttered. She blinked at him, eyes wide with confusion and fear. "I'm Liari," she whispered. "Reed," he said. "I'm not here to hurt you." She nodded once. "Kai is cold." He looked at the furry animal in her arms. Its tiny chest was barely rising. "I've got heating gel and a thermal wrap," Reed said. "Let me help him." Liari didn't speak, but slowly loosened her grip. Reed carefully took Kai and wrapped him in the gel cloth, placing him near the vent. He covered both of them in blankets and activated the heating floor. Liari sat up slowly, teeth chattering. "Why, help us?" Reed poured warm water into a flask and handed it to her. He sat back and looked at her. "I saw you." That was enough. Hours passed. Liari finally ate something, half a ration bar. Kai's breathing got stronger. The warmth returned to the room. She sat beside Reed on the bench, watching him tinker with a broken comm device. "Are you from the army?" she asked. "Used to be," he said. "Why are you here?" "Same reason as you, I guess. Wrong place, wrong time." Suddenly, the comm device sparked and died. Reed cursed under his breath. "No signal?" "Not yet," he replied. "The storm blocks everything, and I'm not sure who's even left to call." He looked at her. "Are there more of your people?" Liari's face darkened. "I don't know," she said softly. "They ran when the ships came. I lost my parents in the woods." Reed nodded. "I'm sorry." There was a long silence. Then Liari asked, "Why do people say humans are dangerous?" Reed gave a sad smile. "Because we fight. Because we survive. Because we don't always follow rules. Are you dangerous?" He looked at her, serious. "Not to you." Outside, the storm finally began to slow. Inside, Liari curled up beside Kai and fell into a deep, safe sleep. Reed sat by the door, pulse, rifle on his lap, eyes on the dark horizon, because while the shelter was warm and quiet, something was watching from the ice. It had 4 legs, black metal skin, red glowing eyes. It moved without sound, and now it had their location. Outside the shelter, the wind had calmed, but the silence wasn't peaceful. It was the kind of silence that hides something watching. Reed sat near the door, his eyes scanning the frozen landscape through the reinforced glass. His rifle rested across his lap, fully loaded. He didn't relax, not even when the storm faded. Especially not now. He'd been in too many battles to trust a quiet field. Something always came after silence. And he was right. 200 meters away, a black creature crouched in the snow. It was not alive, not in the natural way. It had no warmth, no breath, no soul. Its body was smooth like metal. Its joints moved without sound. Its eyes glowed red. It blended into the rocks and snow like a shadow that didn't belong. It was a hunter drone, sent to clean up survivors after the invasion. Its mission: find, scan, report, eliminate. It had found them. Inside the shelter, Liari stirred in her sleep. Kai was resting better now, curled, into a warm blanket. His breathing was slow but no longer shallow. Reed stood up quietly and adjusted his rifle. He didn't want to wake her, but he knew they had to move soon. He tapped the screen on the wall. No signal. Still no rescue. He whispered to himself, "We're not alone." Liari's eyes opened slowly. "Something wrong?" Reed turned toward her, calm but serious. "We have to go." Her face tensed. "But Kai, he'll be fine. Just keep him warm." "But we can't stay here." She looked at him, confused. "Why?" Reed lowered his voice. "Something's coming." He packed quickly, rations, heat packs, Kai, and a soft carrier, his pulse rifle, and a motion scanner. The scanner blinked, once, twice, then flashed red. He looked out the window again. Nothing, but he knew better. Layari stood, near the door holding Kai close, her small hands shaking. Are they the ones who destroyed my people? Reed nodded slowly. Maybe not the same ones, but part of the same machine. She swallowed hard. If you didn't find us. I did, he said. And I'm not losing you now. He opened the door. The cold hit like a wall. They stepped out, boots crunching through fresh snow. Reed scanned the horizon. Still nothing. But then, a flash of movement. The hunter drone leapt from a ridge, silent and fast. Reed shoved Layari behind a rock and fired. The plasma blast hit the drone's leg, sending it tumbling, but it rose instantly. No scream, no pain, just red eyes and a target lock. Reed fired again. The drone dodged. Layari clutched Kai tight, heart racing. Reed moved forward, shouting, "Stay down!" The drone fired a dart. It barely missed. Reed rolled behind another rock and aimed carefully. One shot, one chance. The red eye glowed. Blam! A direct hit to the core. The drone sparked, twitched, then collapsed into the snow, smoke rising from its neck joint. Reed didn't wait. He grabbed Layari's hand. We have to go. There'll be more. She ran beside him, legs small but determined. Where? There's a mine tunnel north of here, abandoned. It'll hide us from scans. Kai mewed softly. Layari looked up at Reed. You saved us again. He looked ahead, breathing heavy. This is just the beginning. And far above, on a quiet orbiting ship, another red light blinked. Target located, resistance detected, reinforcements deploying. The wind howled behind them as they reached the edge of a snowy cliffside. Just ahead, half buried beneath ice and broken stone, stood a dark opening. A faded sign above it read in old alien script, Veltrin Mine, Sector 9. Reed brushed the snow off the keypad beside the door. It was cracked but still blinking. He pried open the panel and rerouted the wires using a knife and some copper thread. The door creaked open with a groan. They stepped into darkness. Inside, the mine smelled of rust, oil, and old air. Flickering emergency lights lit up a narrow path. Pipes lined the ceiling. Broken carts and tools were scattered around. It was cold, but not deadly cold like outside. Reed led the way, pulse rifle raised, his flashlight sweeping the corners. Layari followed closely, carrying Kai in the thermal wrap. The little creature made soft sounds now, alive, but still weak. I don't like this place, she whispered. Neither do I, Reed replied. But it's safe. For now. They walked deeper into the tunnels. Occasionally they heard small echoes. Water dripping. Metal creaking. Then, a loud bang. Layari gasped and held Kai tighter. Reed stopped and aimed his rifle at the shadows. Nothing came. Old pipe, he said after a moment. Let's keep moving. They reached a room at the end of a long tunnel, an old operations chamber, with dusty monitors and shattered chairs. Reed blocked the door with a steel rod. This should hold. He set his gear down and turned on a weak heater in the corner. Soft warmth spread through the room. Layari sat on a crate with Kai on her lap. She looked around. What is this place? Miners used to live down here during long storms, Reed said. I read about it in mission briefs. That was before the war. Layari nodded slowly. She looked up at him. Why did you stay on my planet? Reed hesitated. I was supposed to extract some tech, but the invasion started before I left. You didn't run? I tried, he said. But I got shot down. She was quiet for a moment, then asked, Do you hate my people? Reed knelt beside her, serious. No, he said. I hate the ones who make others suffer. Doesn't matter what species they are. She looked down at Kai, then whispered, I saw my father get taken. He fought back. They shot him. Reed said nothing, just sat beside her. You're brave, he finally said. I was just cold, she replied softly. And scared. He looked at her. You're still here. That means something. Outside the mine, snow fell quietly. But above them, a scout drone hovered low, its red sensor blinking. It scanned the area, hovering directly above the mine entrance. Then, it sent a signal. Inside, Reed noticed a soft beep on his scanner. "Incoming," he said sharply. "Something's up top." Layari stood quickly. "Do we run?" "No, we hide." He grabbed a heat blanket and wrapped it over Layari and Kai, shielding their biosignatures. Then he powered down all lights and systems. Darkness returned. Silence. Then, clang. Clank. Footsteps above. Not one. Not two. Multiple. Metal boots moved over. The tunnel entrance, but none entered. Not yet. Reed whispered, "They're scanning. If they detect heat, they'll enter." Layari didn't breathe. Kai didn't move. Reed held his rifle tight. A moment passed. Then another. Finally, the footsteps faded. The scanner beep turned green. "They didn't find us," he said with relief. Layari let out a small breath. Reed looked at her with new respect. "You stayed calm," he said. "Most adults can't do that." She gave him a small smile. "I trusted you." But in space, aboard a command cruiser, a general stared at the feed. "That human's still alive," he growled. "And now he's protecting one of them." The officer beside him asked, "Orders, sir?" The general's eyes narrowed. "Send the hunters. All of them." The old mining tunnel felt quieter than ever. Reed checked the motion scanner for the 10th time. Nothing. No red dots. No movement. But that didn't comfort him. The enemy was smart. They knew how to wait, and time was running out. Layari sat beside the small heater, stroking Kai gently. The creature was warming up, his eyes blinking open more often now. But Layari, she looked tired. Her silver-white hair was messy and her glowing skin had dimmed. Reed noticed. "You need rest." She shook her head. "I don't want to sleep." "What if they come again?" Reed walked over and knelt in front of her. "If they come, they'll go through me first." She looked into his eyes, searching for doubt. But there was none. After a pause, Layari asked softly, "Why are you still helping us?" "You don't even know me." Reed sighed. "I don't need to know everything about you to do the right thing." She looked down at Kai and whispered, "You remind me of my brother. He used to protect me like that." Reed's voice softened. "What happened to him?" She took a breath. "He was taken during the first attack. I never saw him again." There was pain in her voice. But not just sadness, guilt. "I hid while he screamed my name." Reed gently placed a hand on her shoulder. "You survived. That's not weakness. That's strength." Suddenly, the scanner beeped once, then flickered, not red, not green. Something in between. "Jammed signal." Reed muttered. "They're blocking scans now." He opened his pack and pulled out a portable uplink device, small, cracked, but maybe still working. "If I can get high enough above ground, I can send a distress signal." "To who?" Layari asked. "Anyone still listening?" Reed explained. Quickly. The mining shaft led up to a broken control tower on the cliff above. It was risky, exposed, but it had a long-range antenna. "If I can boost this," he said, holding the uplink, "someone might hear us." Layari stood. "I'll go. With you." Reed frowned. "No. Too dangerous." "I'm not leaving you alone," she insisted. For a second, they stared at each other. Then Reed gave a small nod. "Fine. But you stay low. And if anything happens, you run." She agreed. But inside, she had no intention of leaving him behind. Again. The climb was steep. Ice made the rocks slippery. Reed moved first, testing every step. Layari followed. Kai held inside her jacket. As they reached the top, the wind struck hard, freezing, fast and sharp. The tower was broken but still standing. A metal skeleton, bent and twisted, with cables flapping in the wind. The old antenna pointed at the sky like a broken finger. Reed connected the uplink and powered it on. A soft blue light blinked. Then, static, Then, a flicker of signal. He spoke quickly into the mic. "This is human survivor Reed Voss, stranded on Virelon 9. One alien miner with me. Requesting extraction. Hostile drones active. Coordinates. Beep." The light turned red. "They're jamming again," Reed growled. Suddenly, Layari grabbed his arm. She pointed down. In the snow below, black shapes moved. Not one, not two, at least 10. Hunter drones, marching toward the tower. "No time," Reed said. He grabbed the uplink and turned. "We run!" But Layari froze. Her eyes locked on one of the drones. "No," she whispered. "That one." Reed pulled her. "What?" She didn't move. "That's my brother's drone." Reed blinked. "What?" She pointed again. "That one. It walks like him, I remember. He had a limp." Reed looked closer, and he saw it, a hunter unit, slower than the rest. Its head turned differently. Its posture wasn't smooth, like it had once been human or something else. "They turned him into one of them," she said, voice trembling. Reed clenched his jaw. "Then we take him back." The wind howled around the broken tower, but Reed didn't hear it. He was staring down at the marching drones, cold, dark machines with glowing red eyes. But one of them was different. It walked with a limp. It paused at times, like it was confused, and when Layari whispered, "That's him," Reed believed her. Layari stood frozen, her arms wrapped tight around Kai, her eyes locked on the limping drone. Her breath came in short gasps. "I thought he died," she said, voice shaking. "But they took him. They put him in that thing." Reed gently pulled her back from the edge. "We need cover," he said. "Come on." They rushed down the slope, slipping on icy rock. Below, they ducked into a side tunnel, a narrow shaft that led into deeper parts of the mine. Reed lit a dim headlamp. "Are you sure it's him?" he asked. "Yes," she whispered. "That's his walk. That's how he moved after he broke his leg years ago. He used to joke he was a robot." Reed looked ahead. Now, he was one. They reached a quiet chamber deep underground. Pipes ran overhead, and the air was thick with dust and steam. Reed sealed the door behind them. "We need to talk," he said. Layari didn't sit. She just hugged Kai tighter and stared. At the floor, Reed continued. "If your brother is in that drone, it means they did more than kill people. They used them, rewired them. That's illegal under galactic law." Layari looked up. "Can we save him?" Reed paused. "I don't know," he admitted, "but we can try." He reached into his pack and pulled out a black cube, a hacking tool used for disabling machines. "It won't work on most hunter drones," he said. "They're too advanced. But if part of your brother's brain is still in there, this might connect." Layari's eyes lit up with hope. "Then let's do it." Reed hesitated. "If I fail, the drone could attack. And if I succeed, he might still not remember you. He might just be pain and anger." "I don't care," she said firmly. "I have to try." That night, they made a plan. Reed set traps along the lower tunnel. Layari wrote her brother's, Terran, on a piece of cloth, soaked it in her scent and tied it to a pipe where the drone would pass. Then they waited. Hours passed. Then, metal footsteps echoed. Reed crouched in the shadows, weapon ready. Layari stood behind him, silent, eyes wide. The first two drones passed without pausing. Then the third, the one with the limp, stopped. Its red eye flickered. It turned toward the cloth. Layari stepped forward. Reed grabbed her arm. "Not yet," but she whispered loudly, "Terran, the..." Drone turned sharply, its gun arm raised. "Terran, it's me, Layari." The drone paused. The gun didn't fire. Its body twitched, metal groaning. A strange hum echoed from within. Then, it dropped to one knee. The red eye flickered. Red, then blue, then back to red. Reed moved fast. He slapped the black cube against the back of its neck. The device hissed, lights flashing rapidly. The drone jolted. Sparks flew, then it collapsed, motionless. Reed checked the readings. Still active, but memory units unlocked. He said, "We have a chance." Lyari rushed forward and knelt beside the body. "Terran, I'm here. Please, it's me." The red eye blinked. Then again. A soft sound came from the voice unit, crackling static at first. Then, "Lyari?" she gasped. Yes, I'm here. Cold. Where are... Mom." Tears filled her eyes. "I'm here. I didn't leave. I'm sorry." Reed stepped back, giving them space. But he knew it wouldn't last, because, above them, the other drones had heard the noise. And now, they were coming. Red lights flashed through the tunnels. The hunter drones were coming. Reed checked the motion scanner. 6 targets closing in fast. Lyari knelt beside her brother's body, tears on her cheeks, clutching his metal hand. "He said my name. I heard him. He's still inside." Reed knelt down. "We don't have much time. The signal I sent earlier. Maybe someone got it, but we have to hold out." He looked down at Terran's limp body. "Can you move him?" She shook her head. "He's too heavy." Reed made a decision. "Then we hold here." Reed set up a defense. At the tunnel entrance, crates, scrap metal, plasma charges. Lyari helped stack pipes and covered Kai in a corner with a thermal shield. The chamber was dark, but ready. Reed took a deep breath and powered up his rifle. Lyari stood beside him. She had no weapon, but her eyes held fire. "No matter what happens," she said, "thank you for finding us." Reed gave a tight nod. "You saved me too." Then, the first drone appeared, red eye glowing. Arm raised, Reed fired, a direct hit. The drone sparked and dropped. The second and third came in together. Plasma bolts flew. Reed rolled, ducked, and fired again. The walls lit up in red flashes. Lyari dragged Terran's body behind cover, whispering, "Stay with me, please." The fourth drone made it past the barricade. Reed jumped between it and Lyari, shielding her with his body. He fired point blank. The drone exploded, knocking him back. Smoke filled the chamber. Reed coughed, shoulder bleeding. Then, a new sound. Deep hum. Blue light filled the room. Lyari turned. Terran was standing. His eye was no longer red. It was blue. "Lyari," he said, voice robotic but warm. She gasped. "You're back." He stepped forward, shielding her. Another drone entered, and Terran tackled it, smashing it to the ground with metal fists. Sparks flew. It didn't get up. Reed stared in shock. He overrode their control. Terran turned to him. "Help. Them. More will come." Reed stood up. "Then we finish this." A final drone entered, larger than the others, heavily armed. Its eye scanned the room. Target. Human. Alien. Rogue unit. Reed and Terran stood together. The drone fired. Reed dived left. Terran charged straight in. The clash was brutal. Metal against metal. Terran grabbed the enemy and shouted, "Get them out." Reed looked at Lyari. She hesitated, eyes wide. Terran turned his head. "Go, Lyari." With tears falling, she nodded. "I love you. I remember," he whispered. Then he self-destructed. The explosion shook the mine. Dust and fire filled the air. Reed pulled Lyari and Kai into a side tunnel, just in time. When it cleared, the enemy was gone. So was Terran. Silence returned. Only this time, it was safe. 2 hours later, a rescue ship landed on the ice. A signal from orbit had picked up Reed's earlier message. They came fast. Reed, Lyari, and Kai were lifted from the snow into warmth and light. As the ship took off, Lyari stared out the window at the white fields where her brother had made his final stand. Reed sat beside her. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded. "He came back, just for a moment, but he came back." Reed placed a hand on her shoulder. That's what humans do too, she smiled faintly. Maybe that's why we survived.